Hello everyone, welcome back to Royalty Soaps. Today's a really exciting and special day, not only because it's the first soap I am making in April of 2018, but because I got a little something in the mail today. This is really not something I ever thought would be truly feasible for a soap making channel, but here we are. For those who don't know what this is, it's a silver play button, which is like a creative award that you get when you pass 100,000 subscribers, and then when you pass 1 million, you get a gold play button. So I thought I would document this momentous occasion and just add it into one of the videos because why not? Oh boy. I'm honestly trying not to be too emotional about this, but I'm a little emotional. Got my little letter in here. Ta-da! Silver play button. Yay! Aw, they've got all the, the little notes and everything. This is so sweet. I feel so honored and privileged, you guys. Wow, look at this! Thanks you guys so much. Like, I feel really sobered up and super humble now. Like, I'm really excited, but I'm also just amazed by the support that you guys have been showing me over the years. For those who are new around here, I've been making videos since I was about 17 or 18, I think. I never expected this to go anywhere. I just really enjoyed making videos and I really liked making soap, and thus Royalty Soaps was born, and it is a privilege and an honor to entertain you guys every week. We did it! We did it! We did it! So let's talk about today's soap. It is Eucalyptus and Spearmint. It is an absolutely fabulous fragrance, and I actually have a few of these bars available in the shop because this is the second standard low top soap. The two standards that we have for April, May, and June are Berry Delicious and Eucalyptus Spearmint. So I made the Berry Delicious video for March, and now I'm doing the Eucalyptus Spearmint here in April, but there are a few in the shop left over from the April release date and stuff. So if you like what you see here and you want to get a bar immediately, you actually can for this soap for once. It's a super relaxing soap. It's got this really lovely spa feel to it. I wanted as in the feeling of cool, not peace out, so cool, but the feeling of cool and calm and sort of meditative and relaxed. That was kind of the vision for this bar, if you will. So I hope you guys enjoy. And if you aren't following me on Instagram, hey, I do post pictures sometimes. And let's start soap making. On to the video. I have here in my big tub I got from Target all of my melted oil. So I have organic and sustainably sourced palm oil, olive oil, coconut oil, sweet almond oil, and castor oil. And they've all been melted down in my big melting pot and are currently at room temperature. And then in the Rubbermaid picture that is slightly off camera, I'll turn the label so you can see it, I have distilled water mixed with sodium hydroxide, and that gets really hot when you first mix it up, but then you just let it sit on the counter to cool down. It normally takes us about 2 hours to get that to cool to at least 80 degrees Fahrenheit or lower. That's where I like to work with my lye water. So I'm going to go ahead and pour that straight in. Some people like to pour their lye water solution down the stick blender and swear that it really helps with air bubbles, but I was just talking with Caleb about this today, and I honestly don't know if I actually have seen results doing that. Other people say that it really works for them, but I personally can't tell the difference at all. Now I'm gonna put my stick blender, or my immersion blender as some prefer to call it, into my oils and lye water mixture here, and I'm going to blend until my soap batter stays together and is the consistency of a thin pudding. So this is the very light trace, and this is where I like to blend in my colors and my fragrance oils because it gives me a lot more time to work with my soap batter than bringing it up to a medium or a thick trace would. My stick blender has been set off to the side, so I'm gonna take this big container and I'm gonna pour off some of our soap batter into these 2 white pitchers that I got from the dollar store. Pour off this as well. These are gonna be our 2 accent colors. Before we move on, I have to wipe this up off the table because it really bothers me. And before you mix up your colorants, I like to scrape down the sides of my containers so that I know all the colors are going to be evenly incorporated into all the batter and I'm not going to have any left over that isn't colored. The majority of our soap batter today is going to be colored with hydrated chrome green. This is from Brambleberry, but you can also get it at TKB Trading. You can pre-mix this with oils, but I find it disperses pretty well in the soap batter by itself, so I'm going to not do that. I'm also adding a little bit of spring green mica from Nurture Soap and some titanium dioxide that has been dispersed in warm water. That's from TKB Trading, but you can get it from Wholesale Supplies Plus and Nurture Soap as well. And I'm adding just a teeny tiny bit of that white into our large bucket as well. That's just gonna help stabilize the color a little bit. Now I'm going to blend all these colors in with my stick blender on low. I'm gonna put my stick blender right on top of the colors. I'm gonna shake it a little bit so all the air that's trapped inside gets up to the top, and then we'll turn it on and incorporate it. Our colorant has been incorporated throughout every single bucket. Now it's time to add the fragrance oil. I am using Eucalyptus and Spearmint from Nature's Garden Candles. This is a pretty easy one to work with. However, I have found that I like to add it to my batter while I'm stick blending instead of just dumping it into each individual bucket and stick blending afterwards, because it does rise just a little bit, and I find that if you incorporate it while you're stick blending, it stays nice and smooth, and it actually slows down trace, so your batter is even more thin and therefore compatible with intricate swirls and designs. Ugh, I dripped one single drop into this soap bucket. Oh, that irritates me so much. I've blended in all the fragrance oil, so now I'm going to set these off to the side, and we're going to begin pouring the Eucalyptus Spearmint Soap into our large gray slab mold. I have marked my slabs with a Sharpie here on the freezer paper, so I know exactly where my bars are going to be. And we're going to begin by pouring in the green. And I know this looks sort of blue, sort of aqua, and it kind of is, but it's mainly more of like, I guess, a blue-green than anything else. That's about halfway full now, and I'm going to move on to the white, and we're gonna do a drop swirl for this soap, which means I'm just going to pour it in straight like this. I'm not gonna put any hanger through it. I'm not going to spin the soap in the mold, none of that. We're just gonna pour it straight in, and that will leave the lines pretty distinct, so all the colors really pop on the inside. Gonna do another pass with the white. And something I have a lot of people ask me is why the white always looks thicker than all the other colors. And the answer is simply that it's just the nature of the colorant. It just thickens up your batter faster than a mica or an oxide would. So you can see here when I'm pouring the green in, it's still really liquidy when the white was pretty much plopping in already. And of course, if you didn't want your white to do that, you have a couple of options. You could, of course, simply add less, but adding less I think would be my top tip for a white that you want to stay really liquidy. I just like my whites to be really, really contrasted, like really pure white. Got a scrapey out my containing, and it's time for the final pour. So I'm gonna pour this up not too high, just high enough to maybe give it one last good mix. And then I'm gonna pour kind of close, and this is to cover up any of the colors here that I have exposed. I'll still have some of them on top, but I wanted to cover up as much as I can. So my design on top really stands out because the colors I'm using are very contrasted to this blue-green. But before I can put the decorations on top, I have to wait for my soap to set up a little more, which gives me plenty of time to make sure that my big soap bucket is adequately scraped and there's not a bunch of soap left on the edges. All of the soap is finally in the mold, so I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to gently bounce the top, as I am known to do. My top has been smoothed out, so now I'm going to take a fork, a regular, everyday plastic eating fork. And I'm going to start here. You see where my marks are. I'm gonna start right here, and I'm gonna pull halfway into the bar. And it does take a little bit of eyeballing because I obviously don't have the middle marked in any way, so I'm just trying to guess and keep it even. I go about halfway and then I start on the other side, that way I don't like mess it up and get completely like diagonal and crooked. But I do this because number one, it looks really cool, but number two, I have a really pretty little thing that's going to go on top, and it tends to grab onto the soap better if there's a little trench like this. Now I'll come over to the other side and do the same thing, because again, this is the next loaf right here. Just keep pulling it. It doesn't have to be super neat or even. Unless Caleb's doing it, then it has to be perfect. I'm so excited for all the soaps in April. I actually have a big design book now of all of the designs I know I'm going to do this month. All the little stripes are done, so now I'm going to take a spoon and I'm going to kind of smish smash the other side just like this. We're just going to add a new texture. I really like the contrasting textures on this bar. I think it really makes it interesting, whereas otherwise the top might look a little bit plain. But we're not even done. The additives we're putting on top are also going to add a pop of color, and it's going to look so cool. Texturing is complete, so it's time to add the botanical embed. Now I said this wrong in the botanical soap that I made. This is safflower, not saffron. Saffron is like really, really expensive. And I'm just going to put a few of these petals right in the middle of these bars. I am taking care to try to kind of keep them in the middle because that's just the way I like it. It looks neater to me that way. Gonna come here to the next soap. Again, trying to keep everything in as much of a line as I can. And because the soap is still so wet, all of the flowers really adhere to the top well. So even though once it gets hardened up and I'm gonna cut up the bars and everything, a good majority of these petals are still gonna stick to the top. For the final addition, I'm gonna take some of this pink sea salt. This is the medium size from Wholesale Supplies Plus, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on the tunnel or forked side of the soap. Like I said before, having these little caves or tunnels or whatever you want to call them really helps grip onto the salt so that they will stay on the soap even after it has hardened and been cut. And it looks really cool too. Add the final bit of salt here and we are done. There's no glitter on the tops of these bars. We're keeping it all natural. And this, my friends, is what it looks like up close on top of the bars. So you can see very distinctly the pink salt and also the red safflower petals. And I'm gonna wait 24 hours before I split this entire slab into loaves and then cut all the loaves for your viewing pleasure after this quick commercial break. Now that I've chopped up the slab into individual loaves, we're going to chop the individual loaves into bars. My baby could not be more excited in the background. I've lined this up with my 18-bar soap cutter, Evangeline. You can purchase one of your own from nurturesoap.com. Just pressing down gently. Let's pick out a bar from the middle. This is what it looks like on the inside. You can see that drop swirl is pretty distinct, and then on top, of course, we have all the botanicals and the sea salt. Eee, I love it! Here are the end bars. They're always like a little bit extra swirly there on the end. I'm liking this marble bit right here. Yes, and that white is really, really bright. The question of the day is yet another functional one. I want to know, do you guys like this design with the sort of like dark teal, sort of aqua look? Or do you like it a bit lighter? So these are the original bars that I made. I made them a little more watery looking, and then these I made a little more vibrant and potent. So let me know which one you guys like the most, and then that's the type that I will make for the June release. To vote, you can click the I in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. I'm gonna go ahead and just film the outro right here like I used to do in the good old days. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, click that big subscribe button. You can leave me a comment down below, and hey, if you want, you can click the bell as well so that the soap fairy will alert you every single time I upload a new video. Whoop whoop, we got the big 100K. We're coming for you, 1 million. The royal court is coming for you. And until next time, I hope you all have an absolutely royal day, and bye for now. Meow.